Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episodes, and I think that we have a very popular speaker, Mr. Tom, Ma'am Brenda, as well as Brentelman. So we will discuss something new. We will discuss on leadership as well as good governance. Mr. Tom actually expert on AI and AI related things. But beside that, he is doing a fantastic work with TEF, especially in Africa, and they are developing new leaderships and they are trying to help their ecosystems, and especially youth are getting a lot of support from TEF. And soon I hope that they will join in Asia Pacific, in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, and this area. I'm sure there are many youth communities there, and with the help of TAF, actually with their leadership quality, with their better understanding about science, engineering, and technology, many youth community will be benefited. That is the World Talent Economy Forum objective, that we are trying to integrate it and communicate, as well as making a proper collaborations with the right organizations. So, Mr. Tom, what's going on with your projects with
Things are
AI?
good. Things are good.
Yes.
We're excited about this coming year. We've had a great time of incubation, gestation, kind of finding our strengths and weaknesses. And I think, we've been focusing on Africa, as you mentioned, but with your help and with your attention, it looks like Southeast Asia is going to be the next place that we go to help, because it's really important, we believe, to give a platform to young people and to get their ideas of how to solve some of these existential threats that we're facing. So this is going to be an exciting year. We've got a lot going on, and so we look forward to it. We look forward to 2020 being over, at least.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. Beside that, I have some like questions. Like example, many youth community, they are communicating with us, different school, college, university. They have actually, they saw a lot of content for computer science, AI, and engineering, and this kind of things. But sometimes they ask me and World Talent Economy Forum's other members that what will be the best solution for technological training and this kind of thing, especially computer science, AI, and these things. Like, can you share some of your guideline? I know you have a open source mode training and development things. So how they can uh, like join in your program, or what will be the best solution for the youth community?
Yeah, right now the best thing to do with us is to sign up, to go to tafs.org. That's TAFFDS.org, and sign up. And we will be promoting our different operations and our different causes to the people that sign up, and building our membership. As far as open source mode, we will also, with TAFs, we will be we're forging strong partnerships with educational systems and groups and academic institutions. And so we are now developing a lot of curricula for young people and any people, to face the challenges that we are all up against with this next digital age, and AI specifically. We have talked about this before. My work with AI, I really work more with people before they install an AI system, because we do need to bring it on. We need to alleviate the fear of it, and we need to be augmented by AI. It's a very valuable tool, and so the first step to doing that is to alleviate the fear of it. And so that's a big part of what I do, and we are developing curricula to do just that, specifically for young people.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you, Madam Brenda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So, what do you want to share about Africa, specifically the leaderships and the good governance situations? What's going on inside, and how actually TEF working in this leadership development and this good governance and this point of view?
Okay. So, as far as leadership is concerned, I'm a firm believer that, leadership is about empowerment, and, for you to as we often say, lift as you rise.
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
us, follow us.
Sorry,
Maybe start.
I think she has internet issues. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, okay, yes, okay. Uh, Mr. Brentelman, so as you are part of TAF, as well as you have a very good contribution in social media, and you are very well known. So, what your advice regarding the leaderships and good governance?
My advice is to find people that um, folks disagree with and listen to what they have to say. I really try to spend time exposing myself to opinions and ideas that I don't agree with to understand why people believe those things. I think it's really important to kind of understand both sides of the coin in certain discussions, when there's some kind of friction and people can't agree. I think it's really important to try to understand what everyone's trying to express. A lot of people just try so hard to just explain their own point of view. And I think that it's really important for a good leader to be able to understand everyone else's point of view. Obviously communication is important as well, but I've found that if, from my experiences, I've on Facebook, for instance, I've found myself in multiple instances where I'll find people who are talking about ideas that I just completely disagree with their perspective on, and I'll go and I'll add these people as a friend because I want to learn more. I want to learn more about why they think that. And I want to kind of understand those things. And so I think that here in the United States, we talk about bipartisanship and the idea of bridging these two opposing sides of the political spectrum. And I think that doing things like that is really helpful. I think if we just surround ourselves with an echo chamber, it's really difficult to overcome the issues that other people see in our ideas because we just are surrounded by people who inherently agree. And so I personally strive to surround myself with people, not only people who disagree with me, but I like to surround myself with a bunch of naysayers for sure.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, thank you. Uh, Mr. Tom, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me
okay,
okay?
thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
I had to switch device.
Yes. Okay. One specific point, like example, you are running transdisciplinary agora for future discussions. You have more focus on futuristic leaderships. But my question is that how technology uh, changed different roles and characteristics of the leadership. Like previously, we have different kind of leaders. Maybe now we have different kind of leader and futures. What do you think? What will happen in the leadership arena?
Yeah, that's important. And right now, specifically this at this time, leaders are people my age, Generation X or older. And so it's really important as a leader to listen to the digital natives, to the younger generation, because they are born of this digital age. They have grown up with computers. We didn't. We grew up with as in an analog childhood, and then we had to learn computers. These younger generations, this is part of their life, and so it's really important. One of the key features I think for a leader right now is listening. You've got to have some direction. You've got to mentor. You've got to have some other leadership qualities, but primarily right now is to lose the ego and listen to these young people, because these threats and these any threat, whether it's existential or just a business threat or challenge, requires um, digital solutions. It requires an understanding of AI. It requires an understanding of, computer systems and integrated platforms. And so, unless you are an Ph.D. in computer science or AI, it's time to really listen to the younger people who are born of this age, because we are in this, I like to say, lacuna, this phase, this gap between the analog world and the digital world. And so it's really important for a leader today who may be in a Gen X, Generation X, or baby boomer, just to listen to their digital needs.
Actually, I have more questions about TAF and many things, because as regularly you joining in World Talent Economy forums, at least 10 different institutions, school, college, university, we are communicating. That time we find different kind of uh, feedback from the market, different kind of questions. Maybe we will ask these things today to you and your team. Like at present, different school education system, they are actually struggling. Even different ministers, when we discuss with them in developing nations, they are struggling that what's going on in the COVID situations, as well as long time, more than 1 year of time, uh, they do not have their regular education systems. On the other hands, I do not want to say that every developing nations has good internet connections, computer support, or this kind of things. So that's why many of the school and even the national examinations and everything actually hampers. So even their government is struggling a lot. uh, Another situation is that they do not know when they will get this vaccine or when they can overcome from these situations. So you are expert in AI, you are expert in technology, and especially with your TAF, what I can understand, you are developing a knowledge-based ecosystem in Africa. So already you get a very good experience from Africa. So what your advice in these situations, specifically for this education industry, for next at least 1 to 2 years? It's actually massive problem. Millions of students struggling with this situation.
Yeah, I think one way to handle this is because we are all having to hunker down. We're having to now use online, and everything is changing. So in a way, you can take advantage of this next year or so to do like what we've been doing with TAP. We reassessed, took some time. We took half a year, 6 months to kind of sit back, get some breathing room, and reassess. And I think institutions need to do that now. Maybe there is a way to suspend requirements for students, because we're all trying to figure this out now. And so it's hard on students too, who have grown up in the classroom and now they're having to do everything online. Teachers are having to learn technology and everything. And so there should be some reprieve. Should be a phase where teachers and students and universities are not do not have really hard line requirements to meet. Give them a break, give them a gap year or something till we figure all of this out. In tuition help, obviously, there should be some discounts on tuition right now, this type of thing. So I think the best thing to do is and during this time, if you do decide to take this time to sit back and figure all of this out, because I don't think it's going to change. I don't, even after COVID leaves us, these trends were happening anyway. The trend toward online classes and working digitally, these things have just been accelerated. And so in a way that could be seen as a good thing, but this has made us have to accelerate. And so to really take advantage of that, because AI itself, when it comes to education, that trend should be accelerated because it'll allow students to have a customized educational process, something that can hone in on their nature, on their natural capabilities, and um, really augment in a real way. And so we should be thinking about that. We should use this time to transform, to be transformative with our educational system. And I think the smart institutions and smart countries and the smart systems will be doing that. They'll take this time to realize it's not going to go back to normal. That's done. But and take advantage of these trends being accelerated and just reposition, reassess your whole system, and don't expect things to go back to normal. There's no normal anymore. And so that's what I would say. I would say the best thing to do is for institutions to sit back, assess, realize everything is going this way anyway, and take advantage of it. AI is a valuable tool, especially when it comes to education, because it can hone in on an individual's core, competencies, and really augment those and make them very valuable uh, employees at some point.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I have more questions because I get a lot of questions from our field work, from our every day we are trying to visit different school, college, universities, communicate with them, try to understand the youth community, what's going on, and we need solutions. Really, really, we need solutions, especially techno solutions. Many educations they are looking for good solution. They are struggling a lot. Reality actually completely different, especially developing nations, even Africa. I think around 59 percent of the people actually live in Asia. They need lot of solution, even though they are trying to develop. They have lot of things, but still there is a room. We believe that we can work on that particular area, because we are discussing on the leadership and the good governance. So that's why I want to focus on this youth community, those who are the futuristic leaders and those who actually the future for their nations. So Madam Brenda, I want to learn from you about the South African condition, especially education systems and what's going on. Yeah.
So just maybe before I get onto that, to add on to what Tom was saying, that reassessment becomes very important now going forward, looking at where we at. For us in Africa as a whole, and South Africa in particular, it means understanding what the needs are, because we've got a very diverse community. We've got people that can afford and are able to have access to this online courses. They can do their schooling, be it at basic education or higher education online. But as you can see, I'm in the economic capital of South Africa in Johannesburg, but I'm still struggling with network. What more about the people that are on the outskirts? What more
Mhm,
about the students that are sitting in the villages and the teachers that
mhm,
do not understand how to use technology? So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of bringing everybody up to speed in terms of where we at. But for us to be able to do that is to really understand what the needs are, analyze those needs, and then do an impact assessment to say, if we come in and change the curriculum, what will it mean? What is it going to impact, and how will it impact that? And is it something that we can live with, or is it something that we need to deal with it differently? So we need to really understand the maturity level as far as adoption of technology is concerned. So coming back to the education system in South Africa, I think South Africa has one of the best education system as far as Africa is concerned. We pride ourselves with the kind of marks or how on par we are with the world or developed worlds out there. So I think we are doing very well. But again, pockets of excellence. We still have a huge gap between public education and private education. And we've got masses that are sitting not able to access private education because of the costs that are related to it. And we've got people that have got private education access and they are getting obviously better education. So we need to just close this gap a little bit and just make sure that we can afford both the right education that is needed for the future and close that gap. Otherwise, we will continue to have a community of the haves and the have-nots. Another thing with our education system is the silo mentality that exists, and it goes back to good governance and goes back to leadership. So, where governance is an issue, you will have this silo mentality. When you look at basic education, and I'm talking about from grades 1 until matric level, you find that they've got their own curriculum, which is okay, but higher education have got their own, which is okay. The problem is that, the two do not marry. So therefore, you find that a kid that's coming from public education or private education going into higher education or varsity or university, some of them need bridging courses, some of them need to adapt to this new way of doing things. It becomes a real difficult thing. At higher education, you have skills development. At lower education or basic education, you do not have skills development. Now we're talking fourth industrial revolution, we're talking AI, we're talking futuristic learning, where we really, really need skills development, where you really need human skills to be developed. We do not have the facility or the curriculum that accommodate skills development at this point in time. And as much as we're working so much to ensure that the policy changes to start accommodating that, I don't think we have enough expertise in the country to be able to do that. Or we do have expertise, but we do not know about it. So part of what we want to do through TEFS Africa as well, and through TEFS Global, is to unearth that and be able to, where there is a need, be able to supplement what's already available in the country and across the African continent. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, but I think with the people that we have around TEFS, we will be able to support that need and make sure that we can grow the future leaders.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is really a very good explanation in terms of South African's education system, as well as how actually fourth industrial revolution is going on. We have our friend Oshnakachi. How are you? Can you hear me?
Fine, there.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank
Yes,
you. You
I'm
joined
there.
with us. I'm sorry, I know that you are sick, but you joined with us. We are really happy. So, what the present condition right now?
Yeah, I'm better. I'm a bit
Okay.
better.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, what do you want to share about the leadership and good governance?
Okay, I would like to speak with regards to my worldview here in Nigeria. Uh, there's always. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I'm looking at the facial expression of my president, so I was like, maybe a bit preachy. So, okay, so I'd like to speak with regards to my worldview and uh, talking about education, leadership, everything. Um, Here, there is this sense of people. The problem that we have here in Nigeria is that we think that university education is for everybody,
Mhm,
and which is causing a problem, uh, making the high school of low standard. You know, people are not paying attention. For high school, there's no standard. Like, for instance, in Nigeria, uh, in high school, they don't teach philosophy. In high school, you start learning philosophy, let's say, in the university or Jonathan. Polytechnics don't talk about philosophy. College of Education, they'll just talk about philosophy and logic, you know. So there is no uh, room for you knowing philosophy in high school. So they are making it in such a way that uh, high school is irrelevant and university education is what everyone needs to pass through. And there is no necessary attention that is being paid. Like, for instance, in Nigeria, we have in Nigeria over 5,000 universities,
mhm.
over 5,000 universities, and none of these universities are among the first 900 universities in the world. And most people don't even want to attend university because it's annoying. So your professor will come into the school In the lecture, we'll start a lecture and we'll boldly tell you that this is the handout that his lecturer used in 1975, and that he feels that it is the best of us. And this problem placed you behind uh, your peers, in the global market. So it's always a problem of people, not the university education or system not being uh, uh, not being well systematized. For me, there was a time that I was discussing with one of the vice chancellors and the politician. I told them that the system should be like other universities in the world. Like if you look at the statistics through in the past, the budget of Harvard University is more than uh, the budget of the education sector. The budgets apportioned by the federal government of Nigeria for education system, the development of the education system. I mean, um, in the whole of Nigeria. So, but this is the budget of Harvard, just a single university in the United States. And there is no way you would like to compete with these people. Not that Nigerians are not good enough. We have smart, innovative, inventive Nigerians, but we don't have a favorable environment for their ideas to scale. Now, you see people in the university inventing things. We have one of the best here, Federal University of Science and Technology, where one of the best university of science and technology. But when you go there, they are inventing nothing, innovating nothing. But when their students go out, travel out to states, you see them inventing. Because there is no favorable environment for them to do that. And one of the things that makes great leaders is when the university education, when the education system is fashioned in such a way that people ideas scales through. If you fashion the system in such a way that the ideas of people uh, can easily scale through, you see that you have a good leaders. Now, leadership is uh, evolving better in the 21st century. Leadership is not all about repetition of historical facts. It is all about understanding where you are and where the future is taking you to. And you know, learning is not something that is static. Learning is something that is procedural and opportunistic and learn from anyone. But here in Nigeria, most lecturers, most professors don't want to see you. They see students as rivals. They don't want to see people, young guys, doing exceedingly well. It's very difficult to see a young guy of 24 doing PhD and everything, 25 doing PhDs and all that. You just see elderly people struggling. But there is no systematized uh, way for ideas to scale to. University education should be a place where ideas scale to. If you want to go, it's not something for when I see people say free education, it's nothing like free education. Education can never be free. Don't talk about free education. Make standardize your high school, high education system, and make it favorable so that people can get employment to a certain level. So now you develop your university education. You see the way Rwanda uh, reformed the educational setting. You see, when Brenda is talking about South Africa, I was just like smiling. Yes, they are doing exceedingly well. South Africa is doing well. Um, uh, what's his name? Rwanda is also doing well. Just because here we want to have numerous universities doing nothing. So there should be a structure. Even it's all over Africa. I'm not just let me not say about Nigeria. There should be a way that we look at university education. A graduate should um, there is a problem also here in Nigeria. We the graduates job seekers and not job creators. These are two different things altogether. You see someone, a graduate looking for a job over 15 years. When you ask the person, what did you study in school? They will just tell you. You see that this person just went to school as a requirement and not just for knowledge sake. And you see the code difference. The person wants to go and acquire certificates. And you ask the person things concerning his or her field of study, and the person will present your certificate. Okay, defend your papers, no way. And they will go back, blame the government. Because the government made it such a way and say you must attend this before you get job. And what you see creating crowds, people with certificates are unable to solve problems, unable to even identify a problem, not to talk solving the problem. So for you to have a good leader, there should be a good education system. There should be standardized education system for you to scale the ideas of these future leaders. So if you can't scale the idea, for an idea to cohere in the society, it needs to have a kind of a reference and a reference for it to make sense. And that is why scaling ideas is very necessary in our society. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to go to Mr. Brentelman because what we understand from Ushnakati, there are different level of challenge in Africa, as well as staff also helping them, even according to his point of views, like many things they need improvement. And I think definitely TAF's also working on this improvement. And you have a very good teams. Definitely you are sharing your idea, point of views and everything. But solving this kind of problem, actually, what type of strategy you are taking in Africa, especially for leadership development as well as in good governance and this point of view? Mr. Brent.
Sure. So from what I've learned, and as OC was touching on, it seems as though a lot of the issues in Africa regarding students' interest in learning itself parallel to some of the issues that we have here in the United States. OC was talking about how plenty of people in Nigeria don't really care to go to university because they think it's annoying, was what he was saying. And here in the United States, with high school, it's a big thing. A lot of people don't really want to go. I went to a public high school for a while in New York, and it's an eclectic environment. You have people of such a diverse array of mindsets and personalities, and at a certain point, it begs the question of if it's really that helpful. Yeah, I think it's important to try to ascertain what the specific goals should be. And Brenda was talking about the need for there to be this infrastructure to help people be capable of learning how to do tasks and learning how to gain skills and things like that, and that the infrastructure just doesn't even exist because it hasn't gotten to that point. And I think that personally, what I've looked into and read about are these different styles of teaching where they're much more focused on the student and catering to the student's specific interests than just having a strict curriculum that is taught to every student. It just doesn't really make sense. You have kinesthetic learners. You have learners that prefer to hear. You have learners that prefer to see. Kinesthetic learners are the people that like to do. I'm a kinesthetic learner. If someone's trying to teach me something, it's a lot easier for me to just be like, all right, let me try it myself, and maybe I'll mess it up at first, like a game, for instance. If I'm learning how to play a game, it's a lot easier for me to learn how to play it by playing it than to have someone explain it to me. But most of the schools that most of the classrooms you're in, it's people explaining things. And I think that if we were able to offer students more wide array of options so that they could choose to attend digital formatted educational programs that fit their own specific needs, I think that you would have a lot more success. Because I think that what we see here in the United States, as opposed to in Africa, is that we all do have access to some sort of school program for the most part. Where I grew up, at least in New York, we had pretty all right public schools. I think they had their downsides, of course, but it was accessible. But I think that now that we're in this digital age, I think that it doesn't seem like it would be all that difficult to have many different offerings so that someone from anywhere in the world can really access a variety of programs. Especially now that these schools are all transitioning to online programs. I think that with Africa in mind, as you were asking about, I think that it'd be beneficial to have some kind of system where I can be in Nigeria or Kenya or wherever in Africa and have all of these different educational programs that are all accredited in some form. And I think that would really benefit. Looking back when I was younger and learning and growing up, there's if I had the option to kind of have a little more choice, it's like going to university. There's the classes that you get to choose your classes, of course, and if you're choosing properly, you choose classes that you enjoy. And you don't really get to see that in like lower education, high school and things like that. And it really ingrains a disdain towards education. Really, it's this thing that no one really wants to do because it's been forced on them for so long. It builds habits, but I mean it's just so inefficient the way that the United States public schooling is. And I think that, if we embrace the technology, these digital formats, and we can offer a variety of programs, a variety of different styles of learning. And I think that if other folks out there are doing similar things, I think that it can truly benefit the African continent and the world as a whole.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you, Mr. Tom. Many issues actually come from Africa, even from the developing nations and other countries. My question is that what the new strategy, innovative strategy you are taking for developing different kind of leaders, even though, as per my knowledge, like Africa has their example, even in from India, from Malaysia, I think Nelson Mandela is a big name for everyone. So do they have some their own culture to develop their leaderships, or example with the techno progressive ecosystem there will be some changes in terms of leadership qualities and the characteristics and everything? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's just as we were talking about how education can now be customized to the individual student. It should also be customized to the individual culture. And as we were talking just now, I'm getting this sense that we really need a global, massive push to adopt AI. This is a very important period that we're in, and so we really need to get AI installed in as many places and get this up and running fast. And so as as you were talking, I've been thinking this would be we need a moonshot. We need a global moonshot to really adopt this stuff. And the way to do that would be to customize it to each culture. You mentioned India. It would be maybe even in Hindu, it would be focusing this on you know uh, certain deities or something. It's just a way to extract from each culture what motivates that culture to act. And this is a very important period and precarious period that we are all in globally. And we really have a great tool at our disposal now with AI. And if we all work together and get this thing installed and working with it in a local way, global, it'll only help us. And so I think I think we really do need to come out of this phase that we're in, this lacuna, this gap of time that we are in now, in where all these other trends are being accelerated, but we're also having to kind of retreat into our homes and kind of cocoon. We need to come out of this with a whole new approach to everything, from the educational system to government. And just like everything with AI and government, it needs to start small. It needs to be show some real um, uh, advances, some real results in a small way first. And the way to do that is to focus on the areas that are hardest hit, that are most remote, and the people that have the fewest resources. If you use AI or different systems to really affect change in their community, it will grow from the ground up. So I'm just inspired at the moment to say we really need to take this seriously. We can come out of this COVID era and try to get back to normal. It won't happen, and we will just kind of extend this. We will lose this opportunity to take advantage of our situation right now. And so, again, just as AI can customize a uh, a program for an individual student, we needed to customize a program for individual cultures and governments. And we're experiencing that with TAFs. We're starting in South Africa, and we're learning what South Africa needs as far as government systems and associations, how to work, and we're going to have to do that with each country that we go into. And ultimately, we will find a meta structure that we can come into a place and know what works in general, and then fine tune it. And we'll probably need to use AI to do that, to understand the ins and outs of each culture, each governmental system that we walk into. And so that's really kind of what we're doing. What I'm thinking about we need to do on a global scale is what TAFS is doing. So I think that the most important thing, I would think that my message would be like, let's get on, do this quickly. We can't just sit back and expect things to get back to normal, because they won't. We have a golden opportunity right now to do big things and to really be transformative at every level of society. And I'm getting excited as I talk about it, because it's giving me this new kind of sense of urgency. I should have had all along. I think we do periodically, but right now I think it's very important. And 2021 can be a really transformative year, and we could use this time that we have been given. I don't want to say thanks to COVID, but because of COVID, and the trends that it has accelerated, and really grab hold of those reins and ride this thing. Um, yeah, so that's where my head is at the moment.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you, thank you, Madam Brentelman, because our audience has huge respect, as well as they want to learn more about the African leadership, because even in my childhood we learned more about Nelson Mandela. Even in Malaysia, it's actually a very important leaders. Even it's a very good example. So we love to learn more about the way of leadership development in Africa, like how actually the this kind of big and important political leaders they come to the African culture, South African culture, and what's their contribution and what's going on right now. Brenda, can you hear me? uh, I think Oshnakati, you can help us. Can you hear me, Oshnakati?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Repeat your question, please.
Yes, my question is that like we want to know more about the African cultures, that how the African leaderships and everything grow inside Africa, as well as you have a plan to develop different educational systems with TEF. So like if you share with our audience.
Okay. Sorry. When you come to Africa, we have uh, good, um, um, promising leaders who want the world to become a better place, and especially those who are doing well are those who uh, believe in the spirit of Africa. Especially, they are not interested in just bringing in anything that works for others, but they want to make out something that's uh, is feasible for them. Like when I was listening to uh, my president from Ross, and I had when he tried explaining, uh, bringing down learning through people's culture, and I was like, yes, even when the church wanted to move, they brought in the spirit of encouragement and encouragement. So after a series of mistakes, so if you want to understand people, you need to understand. If you want to, uh, if you want to be a friend with someone very well that lasts, you need to understand the person's philosophy of life. Through the person's philosophy of life, you can uh, understand the person's learning process. So, uh, talking about uh, how African leaders, young leaders, uh, how they developed a better philosophy of leadership, their personal philosophy of leadership, like Dr. Senghor, people like you mentioned, um, Nelson Mandela. We have people like Nnamdi Azikiwe and great negritude movement. The people that pioneered the negritude movement, the African spirit, which they call, which we call Braziliotism. So these these are these are the people that want to champion the African leadership through the African spirit. So the Braziliotism is like a way of reawakening the African spirit and what works for Africans. So the Brazilians understands how the African how the Africans behave and what works for them. So now, for you to be a leader, you must not just be someone that's attended a kind of you went to school, you studied political philosophy, just bring in an idea and you want to scale through an idea, whether the idea works for the African personality or not. So, but for it to scale through, you need to understand whether what you are bringing in will work for Africans or not. So, but these great people like uh, Nelson Mandela and the rest, they tend to understand the philosophy of leadership in Africa. They tend to understand the philosophy of leadership in Africa, not the type of leaders we have now. People that just want to smuggle in ideas, people that are leading through the nose of the colonial masters, you know, people that are still ruling under the philosophy of imperialism. You know, there are leaders that understand the Africans. That's Nelson Mandela. That is the former president of Tanzania, and the rest. You know, talk about Ubuntu philosophy. You understand? You talk about the African philosophy. In African philosophy, you understand the mindset, what works for your people. As a leader, you must learn to identify that. So it's not all about theories but practice. You know, these people in the past, they lived with their parents, they understand, they taught them culture. So it's only a fool who throws away culture and tradition for novelty. So you always make mistakes, and your kinsmen will correct you. So it is necessary that uh, can you hear me? Understanding.
Yes. Yes.
And
Now.
that's the best way to scale. That's the best way to scale an idea in the African setting. So now the school system is not just working. Most of our African leaders didn't go to school, like the former president of South Africa, now the president of Nigeria, they didn't go to school. But they will just pick up the prince and study Machiavellian principle. Once they are done with reading the prince, they are now politicians. They are political philosophers. And they start using it. Making use of the ends justify the means, which means the means for which they get to power is nothing. For them, means nothing. So we've started through the my friend. I'm not interested in politics, but my friend Gochuku Alu. So I think you need to start. So his academy is trying to train people, train youths, and others who are interested in politics for them to understand what it means to be a leader. And now I've also tried to scale out uh, uh, Ugochukwu's principle of the individually prepared growth. So when you avail these types of things, like these principles to people, and they read through it, they scale through it, it gives them a sense that impossibility is nothing. For them to understand the why, for them to understand how to simulate with the society, they first of all need to understand. When you understand yourself, which is just a part of the goal, then you know how to go into the goal. That is the basic. So I think Brenda's internet is a bit stable now. She can take it up from there to explain more. Since,
Mhm. Madam Brenda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Apologies for the internet ins and
I
outs.
understand. We understand. No problem. No problem. Like we are just discussing about the uh, African culture of leadership developments. So I think Ugochukwu share different point of view. So what do you want to add today, especially leadership development and impact in good governance?
I don't. I think in Africa, we have more politicians than we have leaders,
Okay.
which we do not really need. We need more leadership in politics, not a lot more politicians. And as a result of this, we have everything being politicized and not driven towards the benefit of the followers or of the citizens. That is why most of the policies are driven by politics instead of being driven by good governance. Good governance that is underpinned by good principles, that is underpinned by moral values, that is driven by the Ubuntu that we talk about but we do not practice. Ubuntu, for those who do not know, is you are because I am. Therefore, everything that you do, I do it for you because it will have an impact on me. So people become much more selfish when they are in positions of power. They forget, they focus more on doing, not on so I think we need to just change that a little bit and ensure that, our leaders way of thinking is much more attuned to the citizens, much more attuned to the followers. In that way, they get to walk a mile in the citizens' shoes, and therefore the policies that they make will be for the benefits of the people that follow them. So we do not have a lot of policies that are done with intention. There is not commitment to everything. So as long as people can line their pocket, they are happy. So I think, with the change or this evolution that is happening right now in the world, it's time for us to take a step back and reevaluate our leadership method, or reevaluate the leaders that we place up there. Because, I mean, having said all of this, it is us, the citizens, that are putting them in those positions of power, to say, for you to elect somebody to lead, what are the things that you take into account? What is it that they're going to do for you as citizens and do for others, or for your fellow citizens? Because if it affects others, it will have an impact on you as well. So I think we need to start really reevaluating our way of electing leaders, and also holding our leaders accountable, because we elect these people and all they think about is the next election date. They don't stop and think about what are the things that we need to do before we are taken out of this position, and how do we benefit these people that have put us in that position of power. But us as citizens, the people that have put them in those positions of power, we need to, on a continuous basis, keep holding them accountable for everything. We need to have measuring sticks. Do we have, the key performance indicators for public officials? Do we have key risk indicators to say, if we start to see this, it is a red flag. So that person needs to be stopped, and we need to check if they are really living up to what they said they will do. So I don't think at this current moment we have that in place, but it's something that is crucial, especially going forward. COVID has shown us that we cannot sit on our laurels and hope for miracles to happen. We need to change things ourselves. Otherwise, there's not anybody that will come out of nowhere and come and fix it for us. We thought the change was gonna be seen when we saw the rapid response when COVID started last year or this year in March. That first month, everybody was in panic mode. Leaders were talking about these wonderful things that they're going to see. But 3 months down the line, everybody got used to COVID, and it was all, how do I line my pocket? Now we are in South Africa on the second wave of COVID, and everybody's asking the other one, how the hell are we going to survive this? Something that, we had 9 months of practice. Now we should be in a position where we can say, no, we've done this for 9 months. At least we know where we're going and we know how we're going to handle this. But leaders are still all over the place trying to figure out what needs to happen next. And when leaders panic, you can imagine what's happening to the citizens. And, as we always say, it is in a time of crisis where real leaders stand up, when we start to see who the real leaders are. But if you fail in the time of crisis as a leader, we will forget you in good times. So it is really this time that we really need to step up as leaders. And when I'm talking leaders, I'm talking about political leaders here. I'm talking about corporate leaders. I'm talking about you and me, the citizens, community leaders, to say, what is it that I can do as an individual to contribute to my country, to contribute to my fellow men, to make this country better, to make this continent or this world a better place to live in. Earlier on, you were talking about education, which is a crucial and a very critical thing at this point in time. What is it that we have done or we have learned in 2020 that we will carry forward in 2021 to ensure that the experience that the students have had, the teachers have had, that was hard is not the same in 2021, because COVID is going to stay with us for a while. So what are the things that we're going to do to ensure that it is not as hard as it was in 2020? That will be leadership in action. So I think for me, it is about, as leaders, there should be more commitment and more action that is seen by the followers, and we should be more attuned to our followers than just being leaders because of the positions that we hold.
Excellent, excellent, Mr. Brentelman. What do you want to add? Because we are today's discussion. Actually, we really understand about Africa and African leaderships and their local ecosystems. So yes, TAF doing fantastic works. So what's the like contribution you have right now? Even in future, we will get different strategy to solve this kind of problem, like what Brenda said, that we do not have enough leaders, we have enough politicians, so we need more leaders. So this is actually very interesting and very true for many countries actually. So what's your opinion on that particular point?
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with that perspective in a lot of countries, that there's seems to be a lot more politicians than leaders, or at least that these politicians aren't also necessarily leadership role models. And I think that something that Brenda also said that stuck out was the fact that we shouldn't be expecting someone to just come and save us. We need to do this on our own. And I think that, you know, COVID's a great example of, as Brenda was pointing out, the fact that we expected, in a lot of ways, and especially in Africa, it's by the sounds, people expected there to be. Oh, and by the way, Happy New Year's, Sharif. I just noticed it's midnight by you.
Happy New Year.
Um,
Happy New Year.
but I think that it's really important to not fall into that pitfall trap of assuming that there's going to be some external savior, that the government is going to help, or this and that. There's programs that the government provides in the United States, and there's programs that the government could provide in African nations if it was able to, build that type of infrastructure. But even those types of programs that are built to, assist people, those programs aren't meant to be relied upon entirely. And I think that, by realizing these things, it's almost a good thing that these politicians are so um, unprofessional and lacking the real qualities of leadership, because it shows us that we are truly all alone. We're on our own, and we need to kind of pick up where these pieces are left off. And I really think that it is important to foster leadership capabilities, qualities in the youth and in these younger generations, and especially in places like Africa, where the median age is 19, and the problems that we see here in the U.S. are really don't there. It really is nothing compared to the stuff that we hear our friends discussing in Africa. There's a lot of parallels and stuff, but I mean, there's just I've never been to Africa, so I can't say absolutely, but it sounds like there's a lot of infrastructure that could be in place, and that the Taft community is working towards helping with some of that, with empowering the youth, of course, and helping provide some educational programs and opportunities for some new outlets to engage with people from other nations and things like that. And I think that I've also been seeing other people doing similar things, because it's not like we're trying to have a monopoly on inspiring people. It's really great to see all these people that are doing other things that are kind of similar in the same vein as what we're doing with the Tafts community, and working with these people such as yourself, Sharif, to try to accomplish these goals and these visions to improve the world for everyone.
Thank you, thank you. uh, Honorable President of TAF, Happy New Year's. What's
Hey.
your strategy for leadership development in Africa?
Well, see, I think what 2020 taught us was that politicians are a bottleneck to getting anything done. Echoing everything that Brenda said, Brent said that it is good to recognize that one thing we have learned is how little they can do for us. And for me, it's always been a conundrum, especially in America. America was built on the idea of we the people, that the real leaders are the people, and our whole system is designed as a representative democracy. But we find that politicians are a bottleneck. Politicians and representatives are a problem, and um, they're great at debating ethical questions, but they're really bad at solving any fact-based issues. So, particularly in our country and the way it was designed to give the power to the people, there's still this mentality that we have, that I think humans have, of looking for a single leader. The best we could do here was to divide power into three branches, judicial, legislative, and executive. But still, people look to the one president, where originally the president, even George Washington understood, was just a figurehead. He wasn't supposed to have any real power originally. So things have obviously changed, and people are still looking for that one leader each year. But what we really, I think what we have learned in a very heuristic way this last year is that, and even now with the COVID relief going on right now, we have one senator here, McConnell, who is refusing to give people more money. These people have no problem when they need money for tax credits or tax cuts for the rich or military spending. But when you need to help out the actual American government, suddenly there's an issue and we don't have enough money. We don't want to, mortgage our children's future and all these things. And so I think what we've learned is how inept and unnecessary politics is here. It's going to take a while to do anything about it. It's going to take a whole paradigm shift to get beyond that. But I think what really needs to happen, and I'm enthused after this conversation today, that we need to think really, really big and really, really fast. And we need to listen. We need to create these platforms quickly, listen to the digital natives, the young people, and make things happen now. We need to take back power as Earthlings. We have a lot of interesting trends that are happening now that will require us to think like Earthlings, require us to think like a one species. And we need to get our act together, and we need to quit. We need to just make politics and the whole political structure irrelevant. It's like the best way to deal with a narcissist is to ignore them, or just cut them out, think beyond them. And that's what politics is right now. It's a machine of narcissism and ego, and a money machine and they use controversy. It's Machiavellian. They use controversy to raise funds and to divide people, because that's how that beast is fed. We need to make that irrelevant. And that's what I think what we're doing with TAFs is we're coming in and we're focusing on young people. We're not requiring them that they have PhDs or have met certain criteria that the system recognizes as necessary. And we are looking for the best ideas, and we all need to do that in a very real way. We need to search our own best ideas and bring them to the fore. To me, that's exciting. It's precarious, scary. This phase, this place that we are in as a species. We are annihilating 150 to 200 species per day with our ravenous appetites. We are net negative to this biosphere, but we don't need to be. And we need to take care of our own house first, and then start thinking in bigger terms. And we need to do it quickly. And so that's what is inspiring. It's scary and frightening and precarious, but it's also so necessary and challenging. This is a very exciting time to be alive. And so that's what we're trying to do. We are just trying to think, be a meta structure above all the corrupt government organizations and the political systems that are just fed by controversy, because we don't have time for those people. We don't have time for that type of thing. We have some very serious issues. We have some very interesting and intriguing events that are about to happen globally. And so we need to start thinking like Earthlings and do Earth things. And we need to do it quick. We need to do it now. That's what's exciting to me.
Excellent, excellent, Mr. President. That's why I invite you in different topics. Beside AI, leaderships, uh, different kind of policy discussions in educations, good governance. You are actually awesome. You have multi-diversified knowledge, and when you come up with a different idea, it's really like we find that yes, problem we can solve easily. So that is the objective, and this is very interesting. So I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today. And really, even personally, I learn a lot from this session. And those who observing today's session, and we will share today's sessions with different school, college, and university. I request our audience try to understand different cultures. When you understand different cultures, and try to understand Mr. Tom and Brain, they are from different culture, different country, but they are solving different cultural problem with their passions, with their values, with their integrity. That is the ultimately way of leadership. This is the way you can develop your leaderships. This is the way you can grow your leadership qualities. And when example the Oshnakachi or Brenda or Brent Tillman, Mr. Tom, everybody working together, it's actually unity, and it's create a great team. And great team always important for a good impact. So that is the things we are also trying to share with our youth community, that how we can grow together, and how we can understand from different cultures, and we can collaborate with the different culture. And that is the way we can grow from one stage to another stage. Mr. Oshnakachi, can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today's session.
Okay, so thank you so much for inviting me, and I should also thank my president and the director of marketing, Brett Emma, thank Tom Ross, and use this opportunity to say um, Happy New Year in advance for
Happy.
you, for you, and thank you, Sharif, for making 2020 a wonderful one. And
Thank.
one one of the things that I would like to point out is there's uh, this new thing that is emerging from TAPS. TAPS is trying to give everyone a sense of belonging, and I like the way I'm impressed with the leadership of Mr. Tom Ross, uh, the executive board. They are doing something that is really uh, interesting. For so the when you talk about uh, their model of leadership, it's exemplary, and I think people can scale through their leadership model through what we do in class. And also, there is one thing that I forgot to mention whilst we're talking about leadership. I've said this time without numbering that the best model of apprenticeship in the world is the Igbo apprenticeship. You can look it up on Harvard Business Review. So, but then there we have uh, a lot of things that we need to also scale through while trying to implement a good model. That's the African science. People call that pseudoscience, but it's working wonderfully. Where for us, we need to also systematize it and make it more visible. So, whilst we're trying to explore what is and what works for Africans, we need to also try to make everything to correct. So, I thank you all for the time. And as you know, I'm not all that wonderfully strong, but I just need to come up here and learn from these great minds. Uh, you all are doing wonderfully well. So I beg to take my leave as soon as I'm done with the concluding remarks. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for the
Thank
wonderful
you. Thank
opportunity.
you, Oshnakachi.
Thank
Thank you. Mr. Brentelman. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, OC really said it. Sharif, thank you so much for everything that you've done this year. It's really been a pleasure to work with you and the World Talent Economy Forum, and bridge some of these cultures and engage in these conversations. It's really been an incredible opportunity. So thank you again, Sharif, and really excited about the future and what it has in store for us all. Something that I also wanted to add, I've been reading the Tao Te Ching, and Tom was talking about the influence on our lives of rulers and these politicians and things like that. And it reminded me of something that I was reading in the Tao Te Ching, and it was talking um, about the effect of rulers and how people interact with them or perceive them. And it's in the highest degree, men know only that they have rulers. In the second degree, they love and praise their rulers. In the third degree, they fear them, and in the fourth degree they despise them. And when I read that, it really spoke to me, because I think that the leaders that are in place, these politicians, the rulers, really, they exist, and they flap a lot of gums, and they try to steal our attention, and and I'm trying not to despise them. They do what they need to do. Someone's got to do it, but at the end of the day, it's they just exist, and it's like what Brenda was saying. We can't expect these people to be our saviors. They exist. They do some good things, they do some bad things, and I think that it's important for us to realize that and to not hold these rulers and these politicians and these leaders that we see on some we don't need to put them on some kind of pedestal, because they are just humans like us, and a lot of times they have their own flaws, as just like any of us, and every single time I would think. And I think that on the other end, for leaders and for rulers, I can't find the citation right now, but it talked about the highest degree of being a ruler is that nobody really knows about you, to paraphrase. And so I think that that's really important, because I think that, like Brenda was saying, there's far more politicians than there are leaders in Africa and here in the United States too. But I do think that there are leaders. They just aren't seeking attention necessarily. They're seeking results. And I think that that's what we need to be, is the leaders that are trying to seek results and lead by example, not just looking to flap gums.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you, Mr. Brentelmans. Mr. Presidents, Happy New Year's. And what's the concluding remarks for today?
Just that. Happy New Year, and thanks again for everything you've been doing for us. You've been giving us a platform in many ways, and you've done so many shows, and it's really a fascinating thing to watch you do what you do and how it's just grown and gotten more fine-tuned. And we look forward to partnering with you more and more. What you're doing is giving people is what we're trying to do. You give people a platform to discuss important issues, and I think that is what we are doing. We need to all appreciate each other's cultures. It takes I think there's two types of people. There's the tribalist people that aren't interested, or they're frightened, and they're afraid, and they're xenophobic, and they don't want to learn anything else. And then there's those people who really appreciate differences. And we need to appreciate each other's differences, but we also need to understand that we are a species. We are earthlings, not just us, but animals as well. Everybody here on this planet. We have a tribal planetary culture that that is a mishmash of all of our different heritages but as one people, as one species, we are earthlings, and we need to start looking for those meta structures that we can all use and tap into as a globe, as a global organization, as a global tribe. And so that's what we are working towards, appreciating each other's differences, really appreciating each other's cultures. And I've always been fascinated by all kinds of cultures, as you can see by all the masks, the different. I have so many different representations of different cultures from around the world. But ultimately, we're all humans. We're all earthlings, and we need to identify our value as a planet and take a seat at a higher table at some point. And so just this is all moving in the right direction. And I just really appreciate you, Sharif, and WTEF, and everything you've done for us and TAFs. Happy New Year.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. Actually, this is my objective and my team objective. We want to integrate it with people's, and really from my personal life and the cultures, and I mixed with different cultural peoples and different peoples, and I find that ultimately we need to develop our ecosystem. We need to be more civilized. We need to develop our healthcare system, our education system, our technologies, our energy sectors, our agricultural sector. Many sector we need to develop. For this particular issues, we need collaborations. We need honest partnerships. We need trustworthy partnerships. The more and more we can partner like TAF and transhumanist and this kind of things, actually many of the people's life may change. Even we need good doctors, we need good scientists, we need good engineers. There is a lack of things, the lack of good human resources. So that is the objective, that at least how we can collaborate with each other. At least your message we want to convey the youth community. At least they understand that this is the way of developments. This is the way of development through the modern science, engineering, and technology. And I'm sure how we try to engage with different peoples. Even many of our students from actually Himalayas, there is no internet connection, but we are distributing our contents. Even in remote area, in Indonesia, in Vietnam, everywhere we are distributing our contents where internet is not available. So this is our objective. And how TAF workings, as well as this transhumanist, they are working. We need this kind of concept, we need this kind of ecosystems, and we need more collaboration. I'm sure the youth community, they will more engaged when we do different kind of offline conference initiative summits. We will invite you. Hopefully soon you're going to join in Malaysia, Singapore, and by this way we can create a better ecosystem for our future generations. That is the objective. So thank you, Mr. Tom. Always, anytime, any point when we invite you, you join, you sharing your views, sharing your knowledge. Thanks, Mr. Brent Elmans. You support us a lot, as well as we need more of your support. Maybe next year we will reach more people. That is our objective, at least 100 million people. But we need your mentorship, your guidelines, your leaderships, which is helpful for World Talent Economy Forum. Thank you, Mr. Tom. Thank you, Brent Tillman, even Oshna Kachi, as well as Brenda. I really miss her like final and concluding remarks. So thank you for today. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Sharif. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay.